The story of basketball is full of legends, of men who once seemed too good to be true, of prospects who carried the weight of entire generations on their shoulders. In the last decade, only a select few players have been given that rare label. A generational talent, we heard it whispered about Zion Williamson, who stormed onto the scene with a body built for dominance. We heard it shouted when Victor Wembanyama became the most anticipated prospect in decades, a 7'4" unicorn whose game was unlike anything the NBA had seen before. And now we hear it again with Cooper Flagg, the American phenom already, being hailed as the next face of basketball. But beyond all the noise, beyond the stars that came before, there is another name. A name so young, so raw, yet so frighteningly advanced that scouts across the globe are already wondering if he might eclipse them all. That name is Muhammad Daboni, and make no mistake, this isn't just hype. This is the beginning of a story that could one day redefine what we think a prospect can be. The crazy part? He was born in 2011. Yes, while the likes of Kyrie Irving were just being drafted, Daboni was only beginning his life. He is still barely a teenager today, and yet already whispers follow him everywhere he goes. Scouts claim that if he were allowed, he could turn professional right now at just 13 years old. At first, it sounds like exaggeration, like the kind of buzz that always surrounds young prodigies. But then, you see him, 6'10", arms stretching out like an eagle's wings, a frame built like he was designed in a lab for basketball. Then you watch him move, explosive, fluid, graceful in a way that no 12 or 13-year-old should ever be. And suddenly the impossible doesn't seem so crazy anymore. Suddenly you begin to wonder, what if this kid really is the one? Already training with professionals, already standing shoulder to shoulder with former NBA players, Daboni isn't simply dominating his peers. He's been thrown into the fire against teenagers 5 years older than him, against elite European competition. And somehow he hasn't just survived, he's thrived. At just 11 years old, the world first caught a glimpse of him during an under-15 tournament in Spain, a stage usually reserved for budding high school stars. The opponent? Real Madrid's junior team, a program that gave the world Luka Doncic and countless other stars. Daboni wasn't supposed to stand a chance. He was 3, sometimes 4 years younger than everyone on the court. And yet, by the time the final buzzer sounded, he wasn't just the best player on the floor, he was the tournament MVP. 25 points, 14 rebounds, 6 blocks, a boy among teenagers, a boy who looked like a man, and this was just the beginning. By 12, Daboni was already playing in the EuroLeague's Next Generation tournament, the most prestigious youth competition in Europe. Against Alba Berlin, against Paris, against Overtime Elite's collection of American stars, he wasn't just holding his own, he was leading his team in scoring, in rebounding, in efficiency. His per 36 statistics were otherworldly: 63 points, 18 rebounds, 6 blocks, numbers that looked like they were ripped straight from Wilt Chamberlain's record book. Scouts and analysts scrambled to make sense of what they were seeing because this wasn't supposed to be possible. 12-year-olds aren't supposed to dominate the best teenagers in the world. 12-year-olds aren't supposed to make lottery level. Prospects look ordinary, but Muhammad Daboni was doing it, and he was making it look easy. And just like Wembanyama before him, Daboni's game already sparks comparisons that sound absurd, but somehow make sense when you watch him play. Half Victor, half Giannis, with flashes of Zion's high school dominance thrown in for good measure. It's like watching the evolution of the game compressed into one terrifying package. He dunks with power, blocks shots with ease, runs the floor like a guard, and this is the scariest part, already shows signs of a developing jump shot. Most big men spend their teenage years learning how to stretch the floor, adjusting their bodies to shoot from distance. Daboni, not even in high school, is already comfortable pulling up from deep, already hitting free throws at a rate that suggests he'll only get better. A child in age, but a grown man in skill. Scouts watch him and can't help but shake their heads. How does this exist? How is this real? But as his legend grows, so too does the controversy. For every scout who marvels at his talent, there are skeptics who raise an eyebrow at his birth certificate. Is Muhammad Daboni really 13? Official records suggest he was born in Burkina Faso in 2011, though FIBA's website once listed him as a 16-year-old from Togo. And in European sports, particularly soccer, age fraud has always been a sensitive subject. Whenever a prodigy emerges, the accusations follow almost automatically. Daboni is no exception. Spanish media outlets tied to Real Madrid, Barcelona's Barcelona's fiercest rival, have already begun pushing the narrative that he may be older than he claims. Some even argue he could be 16, but here's the twist: even if that were true, it wouldn't change the fact that Daboni would still rank among the top prospects in the world for his age group. At 16, he'd still be a lottery pick in any draft class. At 13, he's something the basketball world has never seen before. And if there is one thing Europe has taught us, it's that they don't wait. Unlike in the NBA, where prospects must be at least 19 to declare for the draft, Europe has no such restrictions. If you're good enough, you're old enough. Ricky Rubio debuted as a pro at just 14 years and 11 months. Victor Wembanyama and Luka Doncic were only 15 when they made their first professional appearances. Muhammad Daboni, he may break those records. With Barcelona's professional team already monitoring his progress, and with reports suggesting he could feature as early as next season, Daboni is on the verge of becoming the youngest professional player in European basketball history. Imagine that for a second. A middle schooler suiting up against grown men in one of the toughest leagues outside the NBA. It almost doesn't sound fair, and yet those who've seen him practice with Barcelona's senior roster believe he can handle it. He might not play heavy minutes right away, but as an energy guy, a rebounder, a rim protector, he could contribute tomorrow. That's how far ahead of schedule he is. So what exactly makes him special? The scouting report reads like fiction: 6'10", at 13, with a frame that could still stretch beyond 7 feet. A wingspan already absurd, yet still unmeasured officially. Mobility and quickness more reminiscent of a wing than a big. The ability to switch defensively onto guards while still protecting the rim like a true center. A vertical leap that ensures his shot blocking and dunking ability will translate to any level. A motor that doesn't stop, and perhaps most importantly, a developing skill set that shows no glaring weaknesses. He can score in the paint, he can hit from outside, he can run the floor, and he rebounds like a man possessed. Offensive rebounds, in particular, have become his calling card, a rare trait that separates good rebounders from great ones. Daboni doesn't just wait for the ball to fall into his hands, he hunts it, he creates second chances, he wears opponents down. These are the traits of players who change games, who tilt momentum, who define eras. Still, history has taught us to be cautious. For every prospect anointed as the next big thing, there are cautionary tales of players who burned out too soon, whose bodies broke down under the weight of expectations. Barcelona, aware of this, has been careful with his minutes. They've seen what happened in soccer with Ansu Fati, a youth prodigy whose body betrayed him after being overplayed too young. They will not make the same mistake with Daboni. His minutes are monitored. His progression is carefully managed. But the older he gets, the more minutes he earns, and the more unstoppable he looks. So here we are, standing at the dawn of what could be basketball's greatest story. A boy who shouldn't yet be old enough to play high school ball in America is already preparing to debut as a professional in Europe. A player who could grow to 7'3" and still move like a wing. A teenager whose mixtape already looks like it belongs on an NBA highlight reel. Muhammad Daboni is not just another prospect. He might be the prospect, the one who forces us to reconsider what generational talent really means. But that's the question, isn't it? Are we witnessing the birth of the greatest NBA prospect ever? Or are we once again falling for the hype of youth? Is Daboni truly 13? Or is there truth to the age conspiracy? And even if there is, does it matter when the kid's talent shines so bright? So I want to know what you think. Is Muhammad Daboni the future of basketball? Have you ever seen a player this young, this polished, this dominant before? Or do you believe the skeptics who say it's too good to be true? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next story we uncover. Cause if this is just the beginning for Muhammad Daboni, then trust me, you're gonna wanna be here for the rest of the journey.